Okay, well, tonight we are going to talk about Instagram, and I'm kind of looking around at who's on this call. And for the most part, a lot of you have already started utilizing your Instagram for Plexus. And so I kind of just want to start off with telling you a little bit about a story of 3 years ago, Vicki. And that's kind of what I shared in my post earlier on our team page, is that 3 years ago, I will never forget Abby Kappa, who is our diamond upline, and Sally Lewis, who is our diamond sideline. So she's under Abby. We're really starting to dig into Instagram and seeing how this could be used for our business. And at that time, not a ton of people were really into Instagram for social marketing. But since then, it has since exploded. And when you get on Instagram, you will see that people left and right are either working with companies. So they're going to be promoting different types of brands, working with companies. You'll see network marketing. You will see all types of people. Just one second, guys. I don't know why. Okay. And since then, it has blown up. And the world of network marketing on Instagram has since changed totally. So what I am talking to you about tonight is Instagram and Instagram only. These tactics are not used for Facebook. When I work my business on Facebook, it looks 1000% different than Instagram. There's sharing a lot more family life and home life and what's going on in our world here, as far as like we're going to Ohio next weekend. Like that is more so what I share on Facebook. On Instagram, it has pretty like 95% become a business account for me. And when Abby and Sally were doing this, I want to share with you guys that it felt impossible. So what I'm about to give you tonight, and the information might feel a little bit like information overload, but what I want to encourage you to do is to take notes and just make one step at a time. There's gonna be lots of information, there's gonna be lots of suggestions and like ideas, but before we even jump into the nitty gritty, I want you to come to this with a very open mind, open heart, and just start one thing at a time. That is what I did 3 years ago. I saw, I don't even know how to say this. Like I saw profitable income come from my Instagram, and it didn't take me 3 years. But right now at my 3-year mark, it's been 3 years of a lot of work into my Instagram, and I'm seeing exponential growth. And so if you're just getting started and you're still in your warm market and you're on Facebook and you still have lots of people coming in, I still want to encourage you to start Instagram now, so that when the day comes and you feel like your market feels dry on Facebook, then you have this other avenue already warmed up. And so, sorry, this waiting room, I feel like it's frustrating. And so I'm going to get started. Maddie, do you have something to say?
I was just going to offer, if it wouldn't mess up the recording, to host and watch the waiting room for you.
I think it wouldn't allow the recording to happen. So it's okay. Okay. I'm going to go back to 3 years ago. If I was, or like saying I was restarting right now, what would I be doing? Before I even dug into this, I would figure out what my ideal client is. Now, when I'm prospecting on Facebook, my ideal client is everyone. And I'm just being honest. Like those people on Facebook, they know me from volleyball. They know me from high school. They know me because I babysat their kids. I don't necessarily feel like I have an ideal client on Facebook, because they're just all the people in my life. And I know them and I want to help them get healthy. But in the big world of Instagram, there are millions of people on there. They don't have to accept a friend request. A lot of people are public accounts. They're not private. Your like window of opportunity is huge But the reality is, if you're trying to market to every single one of them, you're marketing to nobody. And so this phrase is called niching down. And it basically means aligning your marketing with your ideal client. I will give you my example to just kind of give you that insight to my mind and my brain. But what works for me is not going to work for you, because my brand is different than your brand. And I gave you a podcast to listen to before we got on here. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to that one, I highly, highly encourage you. It's from Kristen Boss. There is a brand podcast from her. Abby Kappa has a podcast on branding. Jasmine Starr has a podcast. I will drop all of these after this call in there, and I highly encourage you to look at this, but we're not going to dig deep into that yet. So when I'm looking at my ideal client, I knew that I've always loved interior design. I love decorating. It brings me joy. It makes me happy. So what could I do naturally that I love and it come easy? Because we don't need to put another hard thing on our plate. And what came easy for me is decorating and creating. I had that creative mindset. And again, we're not going into brand right now, but I'm just giving you a little bit of the background on what this looked like for me. So for my ideal client, it's going to be people that are wanting to either A, monetize their Instagram. For monetize just means making money. That's all it means, like using Instagram to make money. I would be marketing to them within the DIY community, because what I have learned is there's a lot of people working 1-2 jobs, and they're over here trying to do Instagram as a business to really make money from their DIY accounts. And the reality is it pays very, very, very little. And so a lot of my heart right now and my niche is helping people A, make income, or B, these people in my DIY community, they're tired, they're exhausted, they're trying to do these things that they enjoy, but they're still like stressed to the max. Like that's what I'm learning about right now, especially in 2020. Like the mental state of almost everybody is very, very low. And so I kind of form all of that to my ideal client. And so then once you have this ideal client figured out, some people call it an avatar. Like, I don't know if you've heard about this, and like, just different classes I took in high school and college, but an avatar is basically a made up person. So you make up this person that's going to be your ideal client. Then when it comes to creating content, you are creating, sorry, I muted. You are creating content for that person. I'm like trying to multitask right now. Hold on, people keep entering the room. So you're creating content for that ideal client. I don't know why it keeps doing this. It keeps like, okay. So that is step one. Step one is really just digging into who are you marketing to? That's it. Who are you marketing to? And you got to watch the podcast on branding first, because you want to figure that out. Because really, when you look at my account, and you guys can all go look at it and like dig down to like 3-4 years ago, it's been a process. And really deep down in my heart, I want to help people with their mental health. And I have found through DIY and design, what a lot of creators in the DIY design community is, it's their stress relief. And so I'm helping people find stress relief through that, through exercising, through supplementing. Like these are different pillars of my brand, but ultimately it's like this one core theme. So that's number one. Okay, that is number one. That's a lot of information. Let it sink in, but now we're moving on. Okay, so monetizing just means making money. So when you're thinking of Instagram, you're thinking about, I'm using this to make money. So when you go to my account, you will see I'm not sharing a ton about my kids. I'm not a mom account. Like that's not my main focus. A lot of mine is sticking to my brand and my niche. So I'm going to give you some practical takeaways when it comes to Instagram, like starting over, getting started. What am I going to do? Again, we're not talking about brand. It's really hard for me to like go through these and not talk about your brand, but there's so many people out there that do this so much better than me. So I want you to listen to them and then listen to these tactical takeaways. Number one, content plan. Again, it's different than Facebook in the sense of I can throw a Facebook post up of us going to Ohio tomorrow and we're packing, or I can put a picture up of my front porch, or like it's not as strategic. With Instagram though, you really want to build like break the algorithm and break into that. And when I say algorithm, if you don't know what that means, it's basically just the system that Instagram as a, I don't even want to know what you want to call it, like the app has this scientific like formula to how people are going to see your posts. And so the only way for you people to see your posts is to kind of break into that algorithm. So if you're so prime example, I was talking to somebody this week and she was talking about pre-planning her posts and letting something else just post it for her. That sounds great in theory, but the reality is when you go to post, you want to engage before your post and afterwards to break that algorithm. And so when I say content posting, have an idea of what you want to do. Jen Callahan, you are a rock star at this. She has her outfits and her designs figured out for the week and when she's going to post them. And sometimes it coordinates with a holiday or what's going on in the world. And so it's relevant. And so that is something that I would really encourage you to do. Maddie just said that she is really getting into this of like content creating and really figuring out, okay, it is Monday. What are people walking through on a Monday? Like what will be relatable to them on a Monday? So you're not going to start about starting the work week on a Thursday. You know what I mean? Depending on what you're posting about. So really just think about what you're posting, why you're posting, and if it even makes sense to post on that day. Now, these are just from really digging into what Instagram does, how they do it, the people I've talked to that are not in network marketing. So I have connected with a ton of people outside of network marketing that really know Instagram, and these have been what they have said to do. Minimum 4 stories a day, minimum. And so the way I like to do that is to have, for sure, a couple in the morning, a couple in the afternoon, couple in the evening. That way they're constantly rolling. And when people get on their phone to scroll and do whatever they're going to do, they're going to see your little bubble up there with a red circle around it saying that you've got a new story up. Now, stories, guys, are actually so easy. So easy. In the mornings, I'm just going to be very blunt with you. I go to my favorite Christian Instagram account because she just puts tons of really life-giving quotes on her page. So nearly every single morning I share one of those. Jen Callahan shares one of her devotionals. Like her devotional gives them a picture, a really pretty picture actually. I still need to go do that one. And so she shares that nearly every morning. Morgan, she shows people every single day that she's working out first thing in the morning. So again, these are all different ideas, all different things. Maddie shows her check-in from Burn Boot Camp nearly every morning. Really what it comes down to is just consistency and showing people that you're showing up for your life. You probably are showing up for your life. You're just not posting about it, right? Like Jen Furstenberg, you get up and you get ready for your day, you go to work. It's probably the same routine every day. But if you add a little bit of that into your stories, I'm just using you for an example. I don't know. I've just picked one person because your name's right there. If you share something consistently every day, people know what to expect and they almost are waiting for it. And then if you go 2-3 days without posting that thing or posting at all, people are like, are you okay? Are you live? So that just goes to show that people are watching. It is a goal right now to share Plexus in my stories every day, but guys, it is not like a for sale sign. I'm not just putting up sales graphics or a picture of the pink drink. Some days it's just my pink drink while I'm talking and I'm doing something else. And I know we all have different schedules and different plans, and my life 3 years ago looked way different than it did right now. And so I know some of you have work you're at, or you have, you're working from home and it's busy, whatever your schedule looks like. We all have 3 seconds when you're on the toilet to throw something up. You have a lunch break. We all have a drive home and 2 minutes in our car before we go inside and see the family. I'm just telling you, if anything, stories are so easy. So I think stories are so much easier than like content creating for your feed. So minimum 4 a day. And I promise if you do things that people engage with you, your view like will go up. And so another example, I've been talking to Jen Callahan and Maddie about this, so that's why I keep using them as examples. But Jen just yesterday said, my story views are low. So yesterday she put up a series of questions, like slide after slide after slide, where people had to pick like turkey or ham for Thanksgiving. Or one of them, she put mac and cheese because mac and cheese is at her Thanksgiving dinner. So like you can be funny with it too. But give people something lighthearted and fun to interact with, and that will get your story views up too. So sometimes I will put up a time lapse of me painting something or whatever I'm doing. But even when I put that time lapse up, I put a poll on there for people to interact with and answer a question. Because the more interacting people are doing in your stories, the more people that are going to see your stories. And so when they see plexus over and over and over again, whether it be in your hand or a symptom post of the 3 pillars of health, or when you're sharing about a testimony, guys, I'm telling you, if you're not doing Testimony Tuesday, you're missing out. I can't believe how much that resonates with people. So when you put those up, or when somebody's having a bad day and they're not feeling good, they're gonna think of you. And this does go for Facebook too. Like the more consistent you are, the more you are the person that's ingrained in their head that does plexus. I had a girl just last week tell me, I've talked to a few people about plexus, but they never get back to me, and they don't really share it a lot in their stories. And so I really just would love to hear about it from you. Guys, that is what I'm talking about. Like you want to be the person that they come back to. And this really goes for all forms of social media. Okay, when it comes to posting, posting. I will say, sorry if you hear my dog drinking water in the background. I'm telling you, that's like the loudest thing all the time. Posting. We're going to talk about this for just a minute because posting is going to build a lot of credibility for you. Your posting does not have to always be about plexus. It can be about life. It can be about something you're learning. Teaching people through posting is a really good thing to try. Posting a quote, but not just finding your own, like somebody else's picture. Take your quote that you want to share or a phrase that you want to share and create it on WordSwag or Canva, which we'll talk about that in a minute too. You create it, put your name at the end of it, and put that sucker up. And guess what? There's going to be people resharing your post. So you don't always have to reshare other people's things. You can be the person that they're resharing. And if you want an example about this, Sally Lewis does this really well, and Jordan Roddenberry does this. Those two are two that really stick out in my names. And I'm going to give you some cliff notes after this and put them in the chats that you guys are in and give you just kind of like some of these names and stuff and apps. But they're two people that they will like come up with something that's in their mind, put their name at the bottom and make it shareable so that people are sharing their post. And again, the more your name's out there, the more people are going to find you in your account. Another idea for posting is like, for me, a lot of the time, it's me giving people inspiration of how to design, create, DIY, decorate. Most of the time, because those are also things that people will save for later. And so the little save button on your Instagram, like if you're looking at your picture, it's in your right-hand corner. It's like a little flag type thing. That little button is what helps your post get visibility. So the more people that are pushing that button on your story, as of right now, that's what the algorithm is doing. The more people that push that, the more your stuff gets seen. And so really the long game of this is what? Is that people want to do Plexus with you. But ultimately in the midst of this, you can also be giving life to people. You could be giving inspiration to people. You could be a breath of fresh air right now in this crazy world we're living in. You could be giving tips on all the things like Jen Dunham, you are doing an insane outreach right now. And this is probably sparking interest and encouraging people to go do those things too. We have no idea, but realistically, it probably is. So when it comes to posting, you don't just want to post and pray. That is what Jennifer Cobb said on one of the Express Saturday trainings. She's like, do not just post and pray. That's not how it works. I mean, praying's great, but posting and praying is not how you're going to increase your business. 15 minutes before you post, you want to be going to people that you want to see your post and liking, saving, commenting, engaging in your DMs with them, whatever that looks like, whatever that relationship looks like. If you're starting brand new, you do that and you just do it to a heck of a ton of people. Then you post, and then you still have work to do after you post. And so again, when I started this video, I said some of this is going to feel overwhelming, but I promise you, once you get into a groove and a rhythm and you really start doing this, it gets easier and easier and easier. And really, then you have to like limit yourself from doing these things because you might enjoy it a lot. So then after you post, you're going to be liking and commenting on people's things, but also engaging on your own post. And so you're going to be liking their comment, commenting under their comment, replying back to them. Sometimes, just like in conversations with Plexus, I ask a question. Because if you ask somebody a question, they're going to come back and keep answering. And so a lot of the times, like for mine, people will ask like, where did you get that rug? Or where did you find that painter? How did you do this? And I'll give an answer, but then end with like, oh, do you have a Target nearby? Like, I don't give the answer right away. And so keeping that conversation going in your comments is huge because it tells the algorithm that you want to connect with that person. So again, it works. I promise. Somebody just did it to me the other day. I noticed that they liked and commented on my post. Within 2 to 5 minutes later, I saw her post pop up right away. So she was doing the same thing and she's not even in network marketing. Okay. That's all about posting and stories. Now let's get into, some of you might hate me for this, but I'm just going to say it, aesthetics. Obviously, I love this part. I am in the design world. I love making things look beautiful. And my style doesn't have to be your style, but there's a way to make things look aesthetically pleasing for your style. Your account doesn't have to look like my account, doesn't have to look like Morgan's, doesn't have to look like Jen's. Like, our accounts don't have to look the same, but they have to make sense. And so a lot of the times when you really start niching down on your ideal client and you have your brand, this might organically happen, but it might take a lot of work too. So for example, if you start really researching some of these names that I have thrown out there, you will see some of them have a system of they'll post once and then they'll do a quote and then they'll post and then a quote and then post and then a quote. And that looks aesthetically pleasing on their feed. Some of them will do like, I try to only do a picture of me, of my face every 5th post or so. Most are just my house and decorations. So then it'll be like house, 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 Vicky and personal, house, 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 Plexus, house, Vicky. Like I have a rhythm to my feed. And the way that I do this is through an app called Planoly or an app called Grid. What I decided would be the best thing to do when we get off this call is I am going to screen record how I do some of this and share it in the chats, because if I tried to do that right now, realistically, I do it on my phone. I don't do it on my computer, and you can't really pull those up on your computer. So I wouldn't be able to screen share me doing this. It would be kind of difficult. And so I have some saved that I'm going to send you after this call. But when people are looking at accounts to follow, your eyes are drawn to things that make sense. And so if you go to somebody's page that's kind of just like a hodgepodge of all this stuff, it's going to confuse them. Just like, I'm trying to think of an example would be, Maddie's talking a lot right now in her stories about decluttering and how it frees up your space in your head, or cleaning frees up relationship space. This is the same thing when people come and look at your squares on your Instagram. If it is cluttered and doesn't make sense, it's going to be hard to follow, and they're probably not going to follow along. But if they have a reason to keep coming back, like you're sharing similar things all the time, it will make more sense. I'm sorry, I just saw that Sarah had a question, which I'm so glad. Okay, you're right. You don't want to start over. Okay, so the question was, how do we slowly transition our feeds to be aesthetically pleasing? Like, I don't want to go through and repost with a preset or completely remove all of what exists, but I do know the pretty posts are better. And this is true. So again, I wish I should have, on our post today, I should have found one from like 4 years ago. I just got sick of scrolling back. Like, I didn't delete mine. There are people that go and start an Instagram and start completely new. I wasn't one of those people. I still have posts. My very first Instagram post is a picture, I think, of Nick and I when we first started dating, and it might have been our engagement photo, but like in our bedroom, like in my bedroom with a picture, like selfie, no filter, no nothing. Like, and all of those are still on there. Just one day I was like, okay, I'm going to start this. I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm just going to do this from moving forward. And the more you post, so it might be a lot of work in the beginning, but the more you post, the more pictures will be up there, and the more they'll all make sense. And I think I did that for a little while. Like, there's weeks that I'm like, I don't really care for the way this looks, so I'm just going to post a lot of these new pictures that make sense. Even now, I still do that. Speaking of that, next thing I was going into was presets. So thank you, Sarah. That helped like transition. All right, again, it's really hard to show you this on my computer. So I'm going to send you some things. But number one, to use a preset, you want Lightroom. That is the app it's just called Lightroom. And a lot of graphic designers will buy the really fancy, expensive version on their computers and like do all the things themselves. But the beautiful thing is there's a lot of photographers out there that create something called a preset. And a preset is just basically a filter for your photo that enhances it, whether it makes it brighter, darker, moodier, whatever you want. But it has all the settings saved. So all you do is like, you'll put your picture in Lightroom, and then you'll click preset, and you'll click the one that matches. But you usually have to buy it from people. So I bought a package, I think of like 6 or 7. I might have spent $50, but I have used this same preset for 2 years now. So what's that come out to a post? Like not even 10 cents a post. But now it's like paid for and done and gone, because you sign 2 people up with Plexus and that covers the $50. There's a lot of different ways that you can justify this, but there also are free ones out there that you can find. And I have a list of these for you. I used one called, it was a photographer called Athena and Cameron. But if you literally just go on Instagram and search the hashtag presets, there are going to be people left and right selling their presets for you. This is something I would work with people one-on-one to figure out how to get that preset on Lightroom. Maddie and I were just doing this the other day. But a preset is a filter, and it's not making the picture not look real. To be completely honest, I just thought of this the other day. I took a picture in my kitchen, and I looked at the picture on my phone. I'm like, well, this does not look like what it looks like in person. Like, my house is very bright and very, like, there's lots of windows. And for some reason, our pictures don't take the full capture in front of it because it's a camera, it's not real life. But what the filter I use does is it literally just enhances it. It brightens it, it makes it crisper, and it kind of makes the darker colors more dark. So I'm not changing the way I look or like the picture it looks, because I know some people will get hung up on, well, I want it to be real life. Don't worry, my real life is in my stories every single day. There's all the real life happening there. And so that is another thing to think about, is when you look at your feed and your stories, a lot of real life happens in stories. A lot of feed is like inspiration, whether it's quotes or pictures or whatever that looks like for you. Okay, presets. I'm also going to give you a list of those when we get off of here. Again, it's just better to have that typed out for you. The next app I want to talk to you about is Canva. And I want to talk to you about this for just a few seconds and why I like this app. Number one, as a Plexus ambassador, it is an awesome free app. The fact that this is free just blows my mind, because you can make things on this app that look like you paid for it. And so on this app, you can make those quotes like I was explaining earlier. There's tons of fonts. It's beautiful. I mean, you can literally just pick like a white square and put your caption up there and be done. But also, and I don't have enough time to go through highlights right now. There probably needs to be a part 2 series of this call. But there's things on there that you can do, like highlight covers. It's already made for you guys. Like all of this stuff is pre-made. All the graphics that you see me put on our team page are nearly like things that are already put together. And then I'm just inserting a photo on there or changing up the graphic or like the font. It's already pre-done for you. And that's why I love it. And they've really done a good job on their app on your phone to where it's getting a lot more user friendly. So that is one thing that I really, really like. Okay. Couple more things and I'm going to let you guys go because I know we're already past our time. What does it mean when I say profitable prospecting? So earlier we talked about niching down, and that's really finding your ideal client. So now that you've figured out what your ideal client is what is the best practical way to get on Instagram, use your time wisely, and not get sucked into being on there? Because it's another girl that I was talking to, she's on another team today, or the other day, was asking me for some tips. And the biggest thing, oh, sorry, Jen. Adobe Lightroom photo editor. Yes, but like Lightroom as an app is much more simple. I can send you what the actual app looks like. When you're on your computer and you do like Adobe Lightroom, it's a lot more complex on your computer. The actual app is much more simpler. So when it comes to profitable prospecting, it sounds great, right? You're going to get on Instagram and you're going to find these people and you're going to engage with them and they're going to want to do Plexus with you. But how in the world, when you get on Instagram, are you going to be able to find these 20 to 30 people that you're prospecting when there's millions of people on Instagram? To be completely honest, and the algorithm is not always going to show you the people you want to see. Now, the algorithm shows me you guys because you're my team and I engage with your stuff when you're on there. So that's the same thing that's going to happen with the people you're prospecting. But again, if we're prospecting everybody on there, you're not going to have anybody coming in. And so one thing I like to do is make a list. So whether that is written on, there's so many ways you can do this. It can be on an Excel spreadsheet. You can write it down on a notepad. You can put it on a whiteboard. There is a way on your Instagram to save people's posts, like we were talking about earlier, and then you can put them in a different category. So like when you go to a post, I'm going to just like pull this up while I'm on here. I'm on here and I see somebody's post that pops up and I want to save it. I'm going to save it and then it's going to say save to collection. I always create a collection of the month. So like right now I have a November collection and I should have more than 6 people in there, but right now I have 6 people in there. I'm just being very honest with you. But my one from like August had 50 in there. So I've still been working with my August people. And I have done this for so long now. I see the trend. And those people I'm prospecting right now for November, they're not going to show interest in any of my stuff until January. But the people I'm signing up right now, are the people I've been interacting with since August. And the people that I've been engaging with. Like this just 2 days ago, last couple days ago, they're just on their products now. 2 complete strangers on Instagram that signed up that are in my DIY community. I am finally like getting into that niche of my ideal client. And so it takes time. So I want to encourage you, like as we're talking, to not give up because you put a post up and it flopped. That's going to happen. And again, if you look through my posts, I still have some that flop, and I can't tell you why. I don't know what happened that day. I don't know if the Instagram gods are out there saying, sorry, Vic, your stuff sucks. Like, I don't know what happened, but I keep going. The next day I do it again, and the next day I do it again. And then you'll have days where, and again, not bragging, I promise, but I had 2,000 likes on a post the other day. I was like, what? I have no idea what happened. But just the stuff that I've been doing paid off for that one day, that one day. And it will start to happen like that, but it takes work. Instagram is not just a jump on there and scroll and like a couple people's things and you're going to make $100. It doesn't work that way. So profitable prospecting is having a specific group of people in your list that you want to engage and talk to and engage with to hopefully someday be able to share Plexus with. But the ultimate goal is you're just enhancing people's lives. If it just results in you being a nice person to this person and giving them compliments and making them smile that day, then you're doing a great job. Because we're not here to just sell, we're here to help make changes, like change the world. I mean, I know that sounds a little bit cliche, right? But truthfully. Okay, one more thing, and then I'm gonna let you go, and we'll probably have to continue this on another call. The last thing I want to talk to you about is hashtags. There you go, Maddie. Maddie just said hashtags are great for researching who to prospect. I'm really down to local hashtags since it's easier to get to know them due to the literal common ground. She just knew where I was going next. She reads my brain. Hashtags. I can't talk. Just yesterday, a girl told me, hey, I found your account through a Colorado home something hashtag. I don't even know what hashtag I used for her to find me. I don't know what post she's talking about, but somewhere out there in the world, she was looking for hashtags because she just moved here. Found my account, found we have things in common. As I'm talking to her in my DMs, find out we're both Enneagram 3s. It just happens when you do it the way you're supposed to do it. So hashtags. Maddie right now is doing local hashtags or hashtags about where she lives. And then through there, going through people's accounts, figuring out one she has in common with, because let's be honest, like, are you going to really work? I mean, this probably could happen, but it's going to be a lot harder. But if you start working this business with somebody that you find out you don't like, I'm not saying you don't like somebody based on their post, but what if you guys have nothing in common with? Now, we can coach each other and anybody and all the people. But when you are working together alongside people with common interests as you, it will be easier. You will love it. You will organically pour into each other. Like, and I don't want this to sound, what's the word I'm trying to say? This is not judgy. This is not saying I can't work with people that aren't like me. Please don't hear that through my heart right now. What I'm trying to say is when you have common interests with people, it's not as hard. Disingenuous, thank you. It is not as hard. And you have, like, the reason why it's easy for me to prospect people in the DIY community right now is because we have genuine common interests. I'm not faking who I am when I comment on their stuff. I'm not making it up. And there are people out there that will do that, and that's unfortunate and sad to me, because I don't ever want to not be real. I don't want to be who I am. And for example, Maddie can talk to people about local things like where you get coffee or this well, it's COVID land in 2020. I was gonna say this festival that's happening next weekend, there's not festivals happening. Or parades or anything like that. But you know what I'm meaning? Like if you are connecting with people that are in the same like same things you're going on in your life. Jen Callahan can talk to people about she's gonna laugh when I say this, about shopping at Neiman Marcus all day long. She told me about Neiman today and I was like, I don't know what's Neiman. Where's Neiman? So we don't have that common connection. And so this is just a prime example. Literally, I said, what is Neiman to her in her stories today? And so if she was talking to somebody that shops there a lot or has the same style as her, it's going to be an easier conversation. Granted, she can laugh with people like me. And so there's then that common ground too, that we can laugh about it. So hashtags, find what hashtags you like by searching them. Just go to the tags in the search bar and search. Like for me, when I'm looking for my next project, and I know a lot of you won't be able to relate to what I specifically do, but just the other day when I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do my front porch, I looked up Christmas porch decor, the hashtag Christmas porch decor. And I scrolled those hashtags trying to find one I liked for inspiration. And then when I found one for inspiration, I messaged her and I said, I love your front porch. You just inspired me for what I'm going to do this year. So 2 things happened there. I got inspo for my next post and my next story and all the things. I'm connecting with that person about her inspiration to me. That's building her up and showing her like, you're awesome at this. You're so good at this. Thank you for your inspiration. And then we're connecting. And then I'm going to use the hashtag Christmas porch decor. So hopefully someone then sees my post and I inspire somebody for their porch. So hashtags are going to help you connect with people. They're going to help your post to be seen more. An app that Maddie just introduced us to the other day is called Hish Hash. Hish Hash. And if you download this, you can then kind of go through it and put your favorite hashtags in there, and then it automatically mixes them up for you. You don't have to do it yourself. And by mixing them up, Instagram won't block your post per se. And when I say block, I don't mean like block, but like, excuse me, they won't. So when you use the same set of hashtags every single time and not mix them up, they won't let your post be seen. And so if you're using Hish Hash and it's mixing up your hashtags, it will be seen more. One last thing, there are some hashtags that are banned. I wouldn't worry about that right yet if you're just getting started. And honestly, it's really hard to figure out right away, especially right now in the world of elections and all that stuff. So I'm going to stop talking because, yeah, shadow block. Thank you, Money. I'm probably going to lose my voice. I don't talk this much ever in a day. But I want to answer some questions. If anyone has questions, I know, what did Morgan say? Yes, don't use, sure, see, Morgan already texted it in there. I didn't even read it. Don't use the same set of hashtags all the time. But yes, does anyone have a question? You can unmute yourself. I know that was a lot of information.
One thing that I would add about the hashtags, because like this was
you did say that you're going to post like all these apps and all the like things that you specifically called out, right? Like you're going to send them to us in one of our groups?
Yes.
Okay, great. Not overwhelmed at all. Super exciting.
So for hashtags, I just recently learned this, but I was just using the same set of hashtags pretty much for every post. So that's not really very cool. But then also too, you want to think about different lists. So maybe you have a Plexus set of hashtags and you have a entrepreneurial set of hashtags and you have a inspiration set of hashtags and a fitness set of hashtags and a da. And so ideally in HishHash, you'll have 10 different groups of hashtags that you use. And then they are essentially like a list. And then you just click which ones you want, and then it scrambles them from all the different lists. So when I put a Plexus post up, I'm not just using Plexus hashtags. It's like a summation of all of them. So that was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that. So
Is the hashtag the pound sign?
yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
One other thing I just kind of wanted to end with, and you can still interrupt me and ask questions or type them in or whatever you want to do. One thing that I did want to just share is that your Instagram can also become another revenue of income down the road. I'm not encouraging you to do that now. In the middle of your Plexus growing, it's a lot of work to just to do Plexus as a business in the beginning, right? But some of us talking about Plexus and gut health and supplements isn't ultimately like our core desire for the rest of our life. And you will hear Diamonds talk about this, like Plexus was my avenue to do this, or Plexus allowed me to serve this way. But there are also some people that sharing and doing Plexus as a business is their end goal. And that is like what they love to do. And that is all they want to do. But you will then have people like our Diamond Upline, Jessica Heffley, also does a podcast of like coaching and life coaching and those kind of things. And so say you're in, I don't even know, but I will use myself as an example. I love interior design. It would be a dream of mine to help people design their homes. And so Plexus has taught me now how to monetize my Instagram, use my passion for sharing Plexus, but then also might become a second thing for me to do down the road. And so it's never a bad thing to invest in yourself for the long haul as well. There are people using Instagram as a business. I mean, most people you will find on Instagram use it as a business. And so it might be only your Plexus business right now, but 3 years down the road, you might have this new passion pop up and you've already grown your Instagram to however you want it to grow. And that is a beautiful thing. And I know Morgan and I have talked before, and she would love to eventually have either a virtual gym or be a personal coach when it comes to fitness, or have, whenever 2020 and COVID land is done, like she would love to open her own gym. And Plexus can be an avenue for her to get to that place someday, whether it be social media or not. But also social media opens your door for so many things. And so if I would have never had Plexus, I don't know that I would have figured out and put as much time as I have into growing my Instagram through design and DIY to then figure out how much I genuinely, passionately love to do this. And I love to help other people do it. I never get tired of talking to people, and my husband's probably like, all right, Vicki, you can stop now. Like, I never get tired of talking about it, ever. And so you will find Plexus, you might not feel that way about Plexus, but you might feel that way about something else. And Plexus might be your avenue to get you there. And so tonight, in learning about Instagram, yes, it is here to help you with your Plexus business, but it also could help you with some other dream you have dreaming up in your head that you just haven't put down onto words, or you haven't put onto paper, and you have told nobody what that dream is. I didn't know I had a dream of doing this, and it's literally coming to life before my eyes. And so it's a huge passion of mine. Again, I know it probably seemed a little bit overwhelming, and I feel like I could have talked about this for 3 hours because there's so many more ins and outs of it. And honestly, I love this conversation. I love teaching. I mean, I'm a teacher by trade. This is fun for me. And so if we want to dig into different things, like whether it's a Instagram workshop and we get down together and we do things together, we can do that. That would be a lot of fun. At least that's how I feel it'd be fun. Let us know. We don't have to talk about it now. Just think about it. Think about what we learned tonight. But I've officially taken almost an hour of your night. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry because I had a lot of fun. Okay, I love you guys. I am headed out of the door at 2 in the morning, so I really need to go to bed. I love you guys. Good night.
Bye, guys.